All right, guys, we're going to practice Newton's second law of motion, which states that an object acted on by an unbalanced force will accelerate or decelerate in the direction of that force, proportional to the strength of the force. Now, this is actually force equals mass times acceleration, and it's just math substitution. Whenever we are doing a math problem, a word problem, we always want to circle our numbers so we can identify what to substitute them in for. So I'm going to have a separate sheet of paper next to me, and then that way I can show all my work. So the first question says, an object with a mass of 2 kilograms accelerates 2 meters per second squared when an unknown force is applied to it. And it's asking me for the amount of force. So I'm going to come over on my scrap paper, and I'm going to write F equals ma. I know my mass because it said my mass is 2 and my acceleration is 2. So I'm going to put F because F is unknown. My mass was 2 kilograms and my acceleration was 2 meters per second. So 2 times 2 is 4. And remember, force is always measured in newtons. And I want you guys to actually have this separate piece of paper, because if you try to fit it on this, it's not going to work. So I'm going to write 4, and I need to write newtons. Similarly, if I'm doing a question that is asking for mass, I have to isolate the m. So in order to isolate the m, I'm going to have force equals mass times acceleration. I want the m by itself, and right now they're being multiplied. So in order to get the m by itself, I have to do the inverse or opposite operation, which is division. So I'm going to get rid of the a, and whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other, and that's what makes it equal. So I end up with the equation that force divided by acceleration equals mass. Does everybody understand that? If you don't, please ask a friend to help you, or you can always message me and I'll kind of guide you through it. So let's find a question that's asking for mass. Here we go. Number 7. An object accelerates at 3 meters per second squared with a force of 6 newtons. What is the mass of the object? So this is number 7. I'm going to write my equation, force equals mass times acceleration. Or if you want, you can start it like this. For the purpose of this, because we're just starting, I want you guys to just write force equals mass times acceleration and then plug in your variables, and then you'll know what operations to do. So I knew my acceleration was 3. I don't know my mass yet, and I know my force is 6. So if I want to get the mass by itself, I need to divide by 3 on both sides. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and we're measuring in kilograms, equals the mass. So I would come over here, and then I would write 2 kilograms. The same thing is going to happen if I'm trying to determine acceleration. So let's choose number 13. It says an object with a mass of 2 kilograms has a force of 4 newtons. And you see how they're always giving you the unit? It is very important for you to add the unit so that we can identify what you're talking about, because you could be measuring in kilograms, pounds, ounces, but in science we're always super specific, and we want to make sure that we know what we're talking about. So again, this is number 13. I'm going to write force equals mass times acceleration, or you could just substitute into the formula that was on the front page, those. I'm going to do the same thing and isolate the a this time, which means I have to divide by mass. But if you just want to use force equals ma and then plug it in and then isolate your variable, that's fine. So according to question 13, my mass was 2 kilograms. I don't know my acceleration, but my force was 4. So in order to get the a by itself, I have to do the opposite of multiply, which is divide. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So my acceleration equals 2 meters per second, second squared equals my acceleration. So it's 2 meters per second squared. Your responsibility is to complete this entire packet. If you finish this early, this is all relatively easy math, but I've also included another worksheet for my early finishers that has 10 problems that are a little more difficult. Please try to practice, or please try to do both. If you don't finish the second worksheet, I'd like you to take it home for homework. Message me if you have any questions about how to do this. Please message me on Remind. You can also watch this video multiple times. You can ask a peer. But told you should have been practicing your math, so I hope that you've been doing so. I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you.